Hello everyone, welcome back to another review and unboxing. Today I will be taking a look at this new Storytellers 3-pack from Toy Story, Woody, Bullseye, and Jessie. I got this at Amazon. It arrived about a week ago. It cost $14.99. It actually arrived a couple of days after I did the unboxing of the Buzz Lightyear Zurg and Alien 3-pack that I posted a little over a week and a half ago. So I'll put a link to that in the description below in the card suggestion pop-ups up right in the corner if you're interested. So these were released like around the same time, but this one, I guess Amazon less stock of. Even though I got it a week ago, I'm not able to I'm just reviewing it now because I've been super busy with the holidays and everything. Anyway, starting off with the package, you can see these renders of the three characters in the bottom right over here. The Bullseye, I believe the renders, all of them are from Toy Story 4. You have the Storyteller, I cannot speak right now. The Storytellers logo right here. This is the Disney version of it. They stopped using the one specific to Pixar like around a year ago, unfortunately. You have the Mattel logo up on the bottom. In the top, you have the Toy Story logo. It's the logo for the first movie, even though two of the three characters in the set weren't even in the first movie. You have the 30th anniversary of Toy Story logo there, which is the 30 with Woody silhouette and the 0, because next year, 2025, is the 30th anniversary of the first film. Behind the characters, you could see a render of the desert from the opening scene of Toy Story 3. On the back, you can see stock photos of Bullseye, Woody, and Jessie, and also a stock photo of Woody being able to ride on Bullseye. It's called the Woody's Roundup Pack. Despite the fact that Sticky Pete is not in it, unfortunately. You have a Pixar logo in the top right corner, a Mattel logo down here, and some information in various languages. Here's the bottom. On the side, you have a nice gradient of a dark blue to a less dark but still dark blue with the Toy Story logo. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into opening this. And also, there is a plastic peg attached to the back, so that retail stores, I don't know what stores even sell this at brick and mortar. Unfortunately, I assume Walmart does, but I wasn't there when I was at Walmart recently, and the Target by me doesn't sell it. But they do have a plastic peg. It's on the back for if retail stores wants to sell it. But Amazon, they have it like folded in, and you can just pull it out like that if you want it or something. So anyway, let's get into opening this thing up. To take a closer look at the card back with the characters out of the way, you can see that it's a render from the opening of Toy Story 3 with the desert, the train trestle with the explosives in the background. You can see the train cars over here. And up in the top right, since I forgot to mention before, you have a screenshot from the beginning of Toy Story 3 of Woody and Jessie riding Bullseye chasing the train. And then a screenshot from Toy Story 2 of Jessie, Woody, and Bullseye watching Woody's Roundup. So here you have the three figures out of the package. They look great, although I will say right off the bat that Jessie has immense difficulty standing on her own. She was constantly falling. It's very difficult to get in her pose where she will actually stand, but I was able to get her to stand for now at least. Woody and Bullseye didn't really have too many issues standing on their own. Anyway, getting into the review, I'll start off with Woody. So take a look at Woody. He's definitely in a nice pose. He does have a nice expression. He looks very happy. His hands is currently in a waving pose, but you are able to adjust that. His hat is removable. He does have nice texturing and detailing for his clothing. You can make out the word sheriff on his badge. Probably can't see it well on the camera, but you can read it in person. You could definitely feel all the grooves and ridges in his clothing, both the shirt and the pants. He has the lasso on his back. The lasso is just beveled onto it, so you can't pull it or anything, but you could definitely feel it. You could feel the texturing of the bandana. His hair is very smooth. There's not really any texturing on it except for at the front top, really. You guys, the holster over here, the cactus symbols on his boots. butt pockets, belt. Nice, like I said, he's nice expression. You can see his tongue, teeth, his iris and pupil, as well as the light reflection on his iris. Definitely a lot of nice detailing on this for sure. Definitely a nice figure. Taking a look at the hat. His hat is nice texturing on the sides as well. You could feel all the different seams, I think it's called. Nice texturing in the center as well. And then the inside, it's just like empty. Nothing down there really, except for some text actually. So there is text in his hat that reads. I gotta take it off the camera to read this. But it says copyright Disney Pixar JCF 18, made in Vietnam. Copyright 2024 Mattel 1186 MJ, 1, NLs. They have that text on everything. I don't really know what it means. It doesn't look like Woody himself has text in them, at least not that I can see very clearly. Interesting is just the hat on, since the hat is removable. Moving on to Jessie now. Actually, first let me do a measurement of Woody. So Woody, with his hat on, he measures 4.5 inches tall. At his waist area, on the holster the other side, it's a little over 1 inch. His boot for the back of his foot to the front is about 3/4 of an inch. And his hat on the longest side, it measures 1.5 inches. The other way is 1.25 inch. And I almost completely forgot to go into his articulation. So for articulation, his hands are able to rotate a full 360 degrees. They're all ball joints, so you go back and forth, around. So there is some nice posability with his hands, with his but there's nothing on the elbows though. Actually, the elbows are kind of like a soft rubber material. So you can bend them slightly, but it's not like a full thing. Hands cannot be moved. And then there are ball joints at his knees, so they could do a full 360 degrees and go back and forth. To do some comparisons to the 7-inch and 12-inch scale Woody action figures from Mattel. So here is the 7-inch scale Woody. So doing comparison of that, he actually does have a completely different facial expression, being the mouth this time being wide open, whereas before it was shut. So that's an interesting change. A lot of times with the Storytellers, they scale it down without even bothering to change the expression. This time they changed it by a lot, so that's really good. Almost forgot to note before that he still has the engraving on his belt. Although it doesn't look like it's as detailed this time. I mean, you can still make out what it is, and like the engravings are like the same. It just doesn't pop out as much this time. Looks like they kept all of his graphics. Generally speaking, his mold his mold for the body is still the same, but they changed up his mouth though, which is very good. And as for and I forgot to mention before that his head can rotate 360 degrees around. So in total, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points of articulation. Whereas the original Woody, he was, in addition to those, he also had, he was also able to, his elbows had a ball joint as well. And he was also able, yeah, this one gets here, so. The 7-inch only had 2 additional points of articulation and a very different facial expression. Taking a look at the 12-inch scale now, so it is nice that actually all 3 of these have very different facial expressions, which is nice. So the 7-inch scale, his mouth was completely shut. The 12-inch, he was the 12-inch, his mouth is open with just teeth, and the 7-inch is completely open, and you could see his tongue and everything. Like the other than the facial expression details are pretty much all the same. And the 12-inch scale one, he has the same articulation as the 7-inch scale one. So actually, when I was adjusting Woody to do posing for the next part of the review, I actually completely missed that his shoes are also able to rotate a full 360 degrees around, so that's good. Let me check if the other ones can do that too. So yeah, 7-inch scale one can do that, as can the 12-inch. So it's still just an extra 2 points on the other ones for the elbows. So here is a comparison of the three Mattel Woodies. You have the 12-inch scale on the left of the video, 7-inch on the right, and 7 inches on the right, 5 inches in the middle. So for this being 7-inch scale and that being 5-inch scale, it's quite a big difference in height, hugely different. Nonetheless, they do look great. So taking a look, you could definitely really see how these expressions are also different. Everything, and also the height comparisons between them. Taking a look next at Jessie, and like Woody, her hat is removable. So she is, unlike Woody, she has quite a bit more texture in her hair. You could feel the individual grooves and ridges for where her strands of yarn for the hair would be, which Woody does not have, but makes sense as to why Jessie's hair is yarn in the movies and Woody's is not. But it is great detailing for Mattel to have. She does have a nice expression as well. You could feel her cheeks and everything, and she also has nice detail in her clothing. It's like the same pattern as that Woody has for her pants. Are like the same pattern that Woody has in his vest, as you can see in the background. She has the same logo as him on her belt, same clarity as Woody's. She also has the butt pockets on her jeans. She also has the pull string, although her pull string you cannot. Just like Woody's, you can't pull or anything. In fact, it's never even pulled in any of the movies on screen. She has nice colors, which I do like on her, but the yellow and white. You could see the buttons, and you could also feel the buttons there, as well as these pieces of clothing, not sure what they're called, extrude out in her hand area and at the bottom of her pants. She is wearing these, I'm blanking on the name of the shoes, but the type of shoes that like the cowgirls wear. She has a tie in the back of her, a pigtail, I think it's called, in the back of her hair. So that's nice. Definitely nice detailing as well. Going to the hat, just like with Woody, you have this the circle it's beveled out or at the end, and you could feel the different texturing on the side from the pieces that go around the side of the hair. Not really sure what any of that's called, to be honest. Going to articulation, her head can do a full 360 degrees around, although the ponytail might get blocked by by her arms. Just like with Woody's, the middle of the arm is like a rubbery plastic, so it can be bent slightly, but not permanently. Her arm is able to do a full 360 degrees. It's on a ball joint. She does not have articulation at the hand. Both of her arms can do a full 360. Her legs is on a ball joint, and unlike Woody, like Woody, she also has ball joints in the center, which allows her bottom to go the bottom of her half of her legs to do a full 360, but they can't really be moved any besides that, and her feet are not able to move at all, unlike Woody's. Getting into measurements of her, Jessie measures from her foot to her head 4 inches tall. Her torso, she is 3/4 of an inch tall, and the length of her foot is just over 1/2 inch. And her hat is 1 3/4 inches across. Comparing her to the 7-inch scale and 12-inch scales Jessie's, so I'll do the 7-inch one first. The expression this time with Jessie, unlike with Woody, they kept the facial expression like pretty much the same. The color of her tongue is little bit brighter than was in the 7-inch, but other than that, her facial expression is the same. Detailing around her, just like with Woody, it's pretty much the same. There's no texting or anything. You can't really see any details that would be missing, although the graphics are not really graphics, but like the grooves that like create like seams or something in the under pockets are much more prominent on the 7-inch scale one than the 4-inch scale in the 4-inch scale one, which is this one. I think that, or when I was saying that Woody was 5-inch scale before, he's actually 4-inch scale. I was getting confused with the Lightyear line somehow, thinking this was 5-inch, but it's actually 4-inch. So I apologize for that mistake that I made earlier in the video. Generally speaking, all of them, just like a Woody, all of Jessie's detailing is like the same, although the brown under shoes is very slightly different, like very similar, but it's just slightly off from what is in the 7-inch scale one on the 4-inch scale one. As for articulation, just like with Woody, it's the same points of she has the same points of articulation as Woody does in both, so she has an additional 2 for her elbows on the 7-inch scale that her 4-inch scale counterpart does not. Comparing her to the 12-inch scale figure, taking a look at her compared to the 12-inch scale figure, she's like, literally, she doesn't even get up to the 12-inch scale figures, like barely even gets to her knees. That's how much the height difference is. But detailing is generally the same. Her facial expressions are, again, pretty much the same. But again, just like with the 7-inch scale one, her tongue is like a brighter shade of red in this. With the 12-inch scale, you can really feel like you can clearly see all the texturing in here. Here, you can see it, but it's not as prominent. And same can be said about the 7-inch scale one. Well, interestingly, with the 7-inch scale one to the 12-inch one, the 7-inch scale, it's textured more as like regular hair, whereas the 12-inch scale one is more like yarn. And the 7-inch scale one actually is more like how it is in the 12-inch scale one, which is interesting. I just noticed that. Anyway, and actually another difference that I'm noticing is that their hands are in different expressions. So it looks like it's like if you compare their left hands, you have the 12-inch scale and the 4-inch scale one here, and then you have this one here. So they're all like different hand expressions, which is definitely cool. I didn't check that with Woody, so let me quickly check that. Yeah, so Woody, it's also like different expressions. This one he's kind of waving. He does not like that in the other ones. Well, it does look like the 12-inch scale and the 7-inch scale. I mean, the 12-inch scale and the 4-inch scale are using the same expression for or pose rather for his right hand. 7-inch scale one uses a different one though. And last but not least, taking a look at Bullseye. So this is the 4-inch scale Bullseye. He's definitely in a nice pose as well. This is the default pose. So one thing right at the bat of that, his feet are hooves or whatever they're called. They're in a not in a straight pose. One of them, it's bending, so he kind of looks like he's walking a little bit. But that hasn't really created any issues for him to be standing up, though, thankfully. He does have some nice texturing for his the thing that you sit on. I don't know what that's called. Also, the bootstraps are like they're like a soft rubbery plastic, so they can be moved a little bit. Nice detailing on his head with his mouth being open. You can see the individual teeth, as well as you can see and feel the grooves in between each individual tooth as well. He has like that. He has like a plastic tail, and the hair is all made of plastic. Definitely nice detailing for sure, and you could feel different grooves that were put in to kind of emulate how the texture that the toy in the movie is made out of. This is plastic. He's obviously not plastic in the movie, but they did do a good job making something you could feel, and you run your fingernail across it, you could hear it a little bit as well. I don't know if you can hear that in the video though. As for articulation, his head can rotate a full 360 degrees around. His tail could also rotate a full 360 degrees. And each of his feet is able to rotate back and forth, but nothing more than that. The Bullseye, he measures in at from his bottom hoof to the top of his head is about 4 inches. Across, he is about across his torso is about 2¼ inches that way. Like butt area is 1 inch. From the front of his head to his tail is like 3½ give or take inches. His foot is about 1¼ inches, or 1 inches. His head is 3/4 of an inch. And then comparing him to Woody for a size comparison, that's their height difference. And then doing a comparison to the 7-inch scale Bullseye. Bullseye does not have a 12-inch scale counterpart. So that's the difference in height. Like, as you can see, the camera just can't even really compare. As you see on the camera, the 7-inch scale doesn't even fit when I have the camera set up to film the 4-inch scale ones. The only benefit that the 4-inch scale ones have is that it's so much easier to frame on the camera. That's literally the only benefit. Other than that, I prefer them being bigger. But what is interesting is taking a look at the expressions here. It looks like the mouth is, on the 7-inch scale, the mouth is a little wider open. But what is interesting is that on the 4-inch scale, they put a white dot in his eyes for like a light reflection, which they did not have on the 7-inch scale. So that is one improvement. It also looks like that the lines around his nose are a little bit thicker in the 7-inch scale one, which makes them more noticeable, which is interesting. Although there is more detailing on the bridges on the 7-inch scale one than there are on the 4-inch scale one. He does keep the outline with the dots and the cactus graphic on his the area that you put your foot on. And then there is on both of them some texturing that you could feel where you sit, which is kind of like it's kind of like an uneven but smoothish texture. Like, it's mostly smooth, but you'd feel that it's not entirely even, if that makes sense. There was also nice detailing around where you sit, for like where you sit, and like for the fabric behind it, and like where you put the whip up. I think that's what it's called. I'm not a horseback rider, so I have no idea what any of that stuff is called. As for points for articulation, looks to be old. The 7-inch scale one, he was able to, his knees were able to move slightly, but not a lot. This one, the 4-inch scale one, they can't move at all. But other than that, it seems to be the same. And as for, and with Bullseye, you can put the characters on them, so let's try that out. You put Woody on him. So I'm having trouble getting him to like stand straight. I have no idea how to do this, but it's like looking at the image, it looks like it should go something like that, but doesn't seem to really be staying since his feet don't move all that much. Like, he's leaning too much and stuff. I mean, this is the stock image of what it should look like with Woody on him. So I'm trying to kind of emulate that. So it took a couple of minutes of finagling, but I was able to get Woody to be sitting on Bullseye in a very rather unrealistic pose. But I mean, he's able to sit in him or not. I think in the picture. I don't know if they photoshopped it or used like 3D models or something, but you can't really get him to sit on Bullseye that easily, and when you can get it, it's like it doesn't look very realistic the way his feet are. It's like his feet being out like that's not realistic, but I can't get his feet to move like any more than that because it's just there's so little rigidity with how much he could move, and so much rigidity rather. It's I do think that picture from Riding Bullseye is just a little bit misleading. It's not as easy as it looks, and it's I mean, yeah, I guess if you get the angle to be the same, it could kind of looks it, but I mean, it's very difficult and it doesn't really stay all the bells. Not very realistic, to be honest. I guess I could try with Jessie, see if she goes a little bit easier. So I will say that I got Jessie on like much easier, but the way her foot is kicking out, like that's not realistic at all either. So it's not very effective for horse riding, I would say. I guess I could try it with the 7 scale one, see if like that's easier or something. Anyway, the 7 scale one, just putting him on very quickly, you're not going to get a very realistic pose at the 7 scale one either. Like, it would be cool if they were able to have a way where it'd be easier to get them on in a way that actually looks realistic. Nonetheless, it is cool that it's possible to put them on at all, though. So I think overall, this is definitely a nice set of figures, although I do wish that it would be easier for either of the characters to actually be able to sit on Bullseye, and a lot easier for Jessie Sam because she just falls over way too often, many times off camera. So it took like literally a couple minutes to even initially find a pose for her to stand. It got easier after that, but even still, long time. The 7 scale and 12 scale figures of Jessie didn't have that issues, but besides the negativity, I do really like that they changed up Woody's expression again. I really do like that. I think the improvements to Bullseye's eyes were definitely nice to see. The fact that they kept all the details and all the characters were definitely really good, because sometimes they drop some of the details when they scale them down. So I think overall I'd probably give this maybe an 8 out of 10. Probably nice detailing, nice posing, just too hard to get one of them to stand up, and just kind of a little bit misleading with having the picture of Woody riding Bullseye in the package, just because how difficult it is and how in the way the photo is framed, it makes it look more realistic than what it actually ends up being in person. But let me know in the comment section below what you think of the Storyteller set, if you think you'll be picking it up, how you think it compares to the Buzz Zerg Alien set that I reviewed a week and a half ago, which of the Woody expressions is your favorite, and thank you so much for watching this review. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of it, and I'll see you soon for another video. Make sure to like, subscribe. Bye now.